Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here. Welcome to my full playthrough walkthrough of Kena Bridge of Spirits. Kena Bridge of Spirits is an action RPG sort of adventure game by Ember Lab. Just came out, I think, on September 21st. Today's the 24th. This is part 1, so we will be going through the tutorial area of the game. We will also be doing this on Master Spirit Guide difficulty. This difficulty is only accessible after you've beaten the game. There are no, new challenges, in this mode. It's really just enemies deal more damage, and they have a lot more health, and you take more damage, you know what I mean? So this walkthrough will work just fine for you on any other difficulty, but I figured I may as well just get this trophy while we're at it. Okay, so the way this walkthrough will work is I will be breaking everything down by section of the game. So the very first part of the walkthrough is only going to be the tutorial area, and then we'll get to the village, cleanse it, and then I'll explain how the rest of the walkthrough will work. So we're not going very far in this walkthrough. This one's only going to be maybe 30 minutes or so. So in similar fashion to how I do all of these sorts of full playthrough walkthroughs, I'll be skipping all the cutscenes. You're probably not here for like a let's play. Exactly. So I just like to keep it tight, if you will. I am playing this on PlayStation 5, so my prompts will not be PC prompts. I'm not sure if the PC version uses Xbox prompts, though. I actually haven't seen the Xbox version, or the PC version. Anyway, starting out, we were told to press L1 to pulse, and that pulse ricochets off some crystals. It lights some lamps, and then you'll notice throughout this cave there are even more crystals and even more lamps for you to pulse and to light up. So we're going to go this way. We're just going to keep following the spirits. And there is a switch in the water here. We're going to swim over, and then we're going to stand on the switch and press L1 to pulse. And then our pulse is going to ricochet all along the crystals, and it hits the crystal above the door, and then the door opens. Okay, so coming through this little section here, we are going to be introduced to combat. So this person right here, this is the antagonist of the game, somebody you're sort of always chasing. But we won't actually fight him for quite some time. So here in the combat introduction, we're told to press R1 to light attack and R2 to heavy attack. So let's do that now. R1 just looks like that. The game is very dial-a-combo, meaning that you can stop pressing buttons and you'll stop, acting, but really you can just sort of mash R1 and you'll do the same combo every time, no matter how fast you hit it. So the game is also telling us to press circle to dodge, which we'll do here. So you can dodge primarily in any direction. It is omnidirectional. However, the camera is kind of sticky in this game, which does prevent you from having complete control. Anyway, once all the enemies are down, you'll notice that the game sort of slows down, and then you get some karma points, which can be used to purchase abilities later on. You don't actually have access to the map or the abilities menu yet. So you're going to come over here, press L1 to pulse this little obelisk, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Pulsing that one, you'll notice that the left side of the door is now lit up, and then the right side of the door is now lit up. So then it's going to tell us about the switch, which we kind of know about already. Okay, so now we're going to step on the switch, pulse, and that's going to open the door. So we're going to take a break from combat for a little while, and it's now time to meet the Rot. The Rot are the cute little creatures that you see in all the artwork for this game, and they are seriously cute as hell. There are a total of 100 Rot in the game, and by the time we are done with this guide, we will have 8. So the first 5 are found in this little introductory puzzle area. As we turn this corner, we'll see 2 children running along. There you go. So it's our job to sort of follow them, find out where they're going, try to catch up with them. But they will lead us to the Rot. The cutscenes in this game are very cinematic, So much so that they actually only play at 24 frames per second, even if you're playing in performance mode, which makes the game run at 60. Yeah, so they sort of seem like 24 FPS is like a cinematic frame rate. That's what movies are shot in. If you ever notice that like soap operas look weird, it's usually because they're shot in 30, I think. But that's, anyway, big aside. Anywho, so there's this little guy holding a leaf, running around. And what we want to do is catch up to him and then just pulse. And then that'll cause him to stop running. And then we were able to collect him. And this is our very first rot here. The rot are these tiny little creatures. You learn a lot more about them as the game goes on. But these little guys, once we collect 5, we'll be able to use rot abilities. For now, though, we're just kind of learning how to traverse environments and solve some introductory puzzles. So we don't have to worry about that just yet. Kana does have a double jump, which is just glorious. Always love a game with a double jump. Okay, so there's a little puddle here with some purple moths flying around it, and your controller should start vibrating. And the little rot here, who is always on your shoulder, he is trying to get your attention. So if you pulse this puddle, another rot comes out. And you will find rot in all manner of places. Could be those little puddles, could be from solving puzzles, could be inside of chests, could be anywhere. So you just got to get very familiar with how that works. Okay, so coming up here, we have a little obelisk that is flashing purple. Purple, 99 times out of 100, means that there's a rot hiding. Okay, so now we have 2. Jump over here. And then we can follow the children again. There's a lamp here that's flashing purple with purple moths. You know the drill by now. That is our 3rd rot. Okay. And then we can go this way to the left, following the kids again. And then we can open this chest, and there's another rot inside. There will not be purple moths floating around treasure chests that contain rots. Just it's kind of the exception to the rule there. So inside a chest could be either a rot, a hat, which we'll cover a little later, or just currency. All right, so number 5 requires a little bit of puzzle solving and platforming. The puzzle is stand on this and press L1. But you do need to wait until the platforms start rising. If you leave that platform early, the puzzle will not complete. You have to stay on the platform until the puzzle actually finishes. Okay, so some purple moths up there. Go ahead and pulse the rocks, and then the rot drops out. Okay, so those are the first 5 rots in the game. We will get the next 3 after defeating the tutorial boss. We have now reached rot level 1, and so we can perform rot actions. And we will talk about those in just a moment. So, over here, we have this red flower. This is a dead zone flower. And so you see the little rot icon that pops up. If you press square to use rot, and then pulse once it turns blue, it cleanses the area. So you're going to be doing that a whole lot throughout the game. This creates a bridge using that tree. And now we can jump over here. Swim downstream. Oh no, my bad. Up here. Okay, jump across the broken bridge. And then we can jump up here, and our little rot buddy is trying to get our attention to do so. So let's appease him. Right here, this is a combat challenge, and you'll know that it's a combat challenge because you can see the dead zone heart, as well as a floating red orb. Floating red orbs will turn into enemies. But when you enter combat, you lose all of your rot ability points, or your stacked up courage, as it's called. So what we need to do is we need to build courage by killing enemies. It's actually built by attacking enemies. You don't actually have to kill them. Let's keep going. And then once we reach a point... There we go. So the rot are ready, so we have 2 choices. We can target enemies and press square, that sends rot after them, and it'll deal damage and distract them. Or you can do what I'm going to do, and that is target the flower, pulse it to cleanse it, and then kill the remaining enemies. There you go. So after combat, the rot are no longer afraid. They all come back, and you instantly replenish your rot ability points, as well as slowly refill your health. Okay, so now we got to solve the last puzzle. And I'm just checking back here. I don't know if there's anything back here. There is. Okay, so these fruit, you can pulse and then put the rod on them. These fruit, the rod will eat, and then you get some karma for doing so. All right, so let's pick up this block here by pressing square. And then we can hold L2 to target, and then press square again to move the object. And then we just wait. These guys are always really cute when they do this. This game is just so cute. It's a lot of fun, but it's very cute. Okay, press down on the D-pad to drop the object. We're going to come down here, and then we are going to lift up this statue. And repairing the environment, lifting fallen statues and stuff like that, will give you karma, which is that currency in the top right. And karma is used to learn abilities. So you want to do as much as you can to get karma. All right, so let's drop down here. And then there are some crystals in this barrel here. And then we can also move this thing that is blocking our path. Quite frankly, I don't know why this is here, other than to maybe teach you that that's a thing, because you cannot actually jump in here even from the ground. So it's not like a shortcut or anything. Anyway, once you're ready... Oh, there's actually a lamp over there. I never noticed that before. So you'll notice that there are like little lamps hanging off of trees a lot of times. If you pulse near them, it'll shake, and then you'll get crystals. So anything that's glowing blue, just pulse it, and you'll get some currency. All right, so now we're going to be introduced to the boss. The boss's name is Sprout. Let me do some explanation here. So Sprout is a tutorial boss, but if you're playing on high difficulties, he can kill you in 3 hits. This is also your opportunity to learn how to parry in this game. Parrying requires you to block at the correct moment. So holding L1 brings up your shield. That shield has its own meter, which will appear in combat, and it can be fully drained. And if you get hit, and that hit completely drains your shield, like if it finishes it off, you will get completely staggered. You'll take a little bit of damage, and then you are exposed for a while. So you have to be very, very mindful of how you're using it. If you just tap L1 as an ability is about to hit you, you will parry, and the boss will get staggered for a second. I will warn you, the parry window in Kena Bridge of Spirits is incredibly tight. I say this as somebody who loves parry mechanics. It is really, really difficult. All right, so the game is telling us to press and hold L1 to shield. Do that. That's a parry. I had to get really good at it for one of the last bosses. It kind of demands that you parry him. All right, so we have a rot action available. If we target and then press square, we are able to just send the rot after the boss, and then we can just deal a bunch of damage. You do want to be careful when using those sorts of abilities, though, because as you saw there, the boss sort of exploded in anger to get the rot off of him, and then I took damage. So it's really, really important that you time that really quick, very well. Otherwise, you'll be wailing on the boss, and then all of a sudden he explodes, you take a bunch of damage, you get knocked back, and then you're in a bad position. But once the boss fight is done, you want to cleanse the flower. That reveals the path to the village, which is where we will go next. Okay, also for defeating the boss and for defeating most bosses, you'll get 3 rot. So let's skip this conversation here. And then you'll notice that rot appear on the floor right there. So we get an extra 3 rot, so now we have 8. Okay, so now we go to the village. We're going to get an unskippable cutscene here. The village is the main hub of the game. Which, I mean, makes sense. And we will discuss the mechanics of the village in a little bit, but this is the big title screen here. Love it. This is my second time through the game. I did record this segment of the walkthrough already, and I didn't like the way it came out, so I'm redoing this. But, yeah, I'm just always impressed with this game. It's so much fun. Okay, so the map is available now, and you'll notice that as we open it, it starts to fill in. You don't ever have to worry about the ruins again. There is a checklist on the right side of the screen for every single area. The village has the most out of anything. My guide for the village for all these collectibles is like 35 minutes long. It's really, really big. So you don't ever have to worry about the ruins again. You can go back if you like. You can only go back so far, but there's nothing there for you. Okay. Oh, also, we'll discuss upgrades in a little bit because we're going to get forced into that menu. For now, let's just run along the pathway here. We will have to do some work in the village in order to actually open it up. We just got to kill some enemies and cleanse some flowers. The village. Okay, let's do this. Let's cleanse. Let's do some combat, and then I'll explain the village in a little bit. So you see the floating red orbs. That means combat's on its way. The main flower hides. Just wail on these guys for a bit. Alright, combat's done. So now we gotta cleanse the 3 flowers. There's one here. There's one up there. And then there's one in this house. After that, this main flower opens up. After a brief cutscene. There you go. So now the village is cleansed and open for business. We also discover our first hat cart. And we get our first warp point. So teleporting is available from the very start of the game. Anytime you come across one of those little stones with the blue flame, that is a warp point. So the game here explains karma, which we already went over, but then it also forces us into the upgrade screen, and this is a really good screen to be in. So here we have the map. It's the same menu, and this is the upgrade screen. So just as a general tip, avoid this first row. There's really not much until the final ability here that's worth buying over anything else. The first thing you want to buy is Rot Hammer. This ability is amazing. It deals so much damage and deals a lot of stagger damage to bosses. So it's a good way to like deal damage and sort of get them away from you. Really, really strong ability. The parry, or the shield row here, this is another important row to upgrade because your shield has a life bar of its own, and you want to upgrade that over time, especially on higher difficulties. So get Rod Hammer first and then focus on this. The other 2 rows you will unlock once you get some extra abilities. We will get one of those abilities in the next walkthrough, which is the bow. And then the other one, I won't spoil for you, but you get that way later. Okay. Yeah, and you will also see that enter the fray here. This requires rot level 2. The more rot you collect, the higher your rot level. So we are rot level 1. And we need 7 more rot to reach level 2. So rot are hidden throughout the game, throughout the world. I will be getting every single one of them in this walkthrough series, so don't worry. All right, back in the village, we automatically get the mushroom hat, and that happens because we discovered a hat cart. Every time you discover a hat cart, you get a new hat. There's only like 5 or 6 hat carts in the game, I think. But hat carts are pretty cute. Basically, you find hats throughout the game. Again, we'll get all of them in the walkthrough series. But hats can be equipped for, you have to purchase them from the shop. So when you get them out of a chest, you still have to purchase them later, but you will have plenty of currency by the end of the game. Just to give you an idea of how much currency you'll have at the end of the game, I got every single hat in my main playthrough, bought one of everything, and I still have like 6,800 crystals left over. So you have plenty of money to do this. But you'll find various hats, and then you can equip them on your rot. So I do have the Digital Deluxe Edition. Thank you very much to Ember Lab for sending this game over and making it the Digital Deluxe Edition. I really appreciate that. So we will change one of ours to the Golden Rot, as well as equip the staff. It's a little fancier. Also, one thing I want to mention is you can purchase a lot of these hats infinitely. So if you want to have a whole army of Mushroom Hat Rot, you can. The more expensive hats, such as the ones that cost 500 and 1,000 crystals, these are generally one-time only purchases. So keep that in mind. All right, so the way the village works is there's a lot to do here. So I'm not actually going to be doing anything in the village for a really long time in terms of collecting items or anything. I'm going to leave all of that until probably like the second to last part of the walkthrough, just because of the way the game sort of works. So you notice a blue barrier here with a fox on it. In the next part of the walkthrough, we'll go to the graveyard, speak with the gentleman there, and then he will give us a mask that opens this door. But you'll also notice a couple of chests and a rot right here. I'm ignoring those for now. And the reason I'm ignoring those and most of the things in the village is because of these barriers here. These barriers can only be broken when you find the corresponding piece of spirit mail to deliver to these mailboxes. There are a total of 10 pieces of spirit mail, all scattered throughout the world. And so to make a walkthrough better, I am just going to cover all of that at the end. We're going to collect all the spirit mail as we go, but I'm not going to actually deliver any of them until that end of the walkthrough time, because there's so much hidden behind each of these 10 houses that it just feels a little weird to build a walkthrough around it in pieces. So that's why I'm leaving it. So we're really not worrying about anything in the village yet. This right here, this is a flower shrine. I will also be leaving all the village collectibles on this checklist. That's going to be at the end of the walkthrough. That said, however, for a place like, Taro's Tree and then the subsequent areas, we'll do those as we go. That is going to be it for this part of the walkthrough, though. We will end it here. In part 2, we will go through this blue gate. We will go to Taro's Tree, and then we will also go to Rusu Mountain. The reason I'm pausing here is because this half of the game in this direction works a little differently than the half in this direction. So the next area is Taro's Tree. You cannot get many of the collectibles in Taro's Tree until you have visited Rusu Mountain. So we're literally just going to get to Taro's Tree, run straight through it, not doing anything, go to Rusu Mountain, complete Rusu Mountain, and then come back to Taro's Tree. So I think in the next part of the walkthrough, we will cover Taro's Tree and Rusu Mountain, and then we will end it there for part 2. Part 3 will be Forgotten Forest, and then the story boss over here. I think that's how I'll structure it. But that's for next time. But yeah, so if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Kena, Bridge of Spirits, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the blue join button below this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. The link for that is in the description below. I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.